Hey everyone, Suzi here, and today we're playing Watcher of Realms. For today's video, we're going to take a first look at Rygar, our newest lord for the Nightmare faction. Alright, so he just popped up on the calendar in-game. You could also see the promotions on the social media regarding him. And, well, we knew he was coming soon. He's also one that they showed in the developer interview, but his kit was leaked a while ago in, like, the previous chats, you know how that goes with the leakers before. And I remember seeing another video on it, unrelated to them, where the comments were not good. So I didn't watch the video because I didn't really want to be spoiled by everything, because I like to kind of see this and get an honest first impression. However, I read the comments, and the comments were, he does not sound great, he sounds boring, his skill kit seems complicated and underwhelming, he does not seem worth the summons, definitely not, like, one of the best lords, blah blah blah. Like, we were all excited about a new Nightmare Lord, but maybe he's not gonna be as exciting as we thought. So I'm curious, am I still gonna feel that way after I read his kit? Let's find out. Alright, so we have Rygar, the Scorned Ravager. So let's give a big old zoom in here. Creepy eyes, he definitely has had some injuries there. Creepy skulls, skulls everywhere that jiggle. Do we have jiggle physics with the skulls? No, we don't. Okay, they just move. Typical of like an orc vibe, right? But he's more human looking than the average. But he's got that barbarian giant look, right? Definitely, I guess, barbarian and orcs, right? Look at that axe. Okay, that's pretty cool. Let's zoom out fully, if I can. That's all the way. Ah, all right, there we go. Fully zoomed out, here we go. Giant weapons. Fun aesthetic, right? It definitely screams powerful. It definitely screams barbarian. Interesting hero. So let's read about him. He's a fighter with normal damage. Rygar's ambition brings endless nightmares to Taya. Each attack has a chance to stun or reduce the target's defense. Okay. Single target attack, ally buff, and hard control. Interesting. Let's take a look at his max skill up here. So as a fighter, he does have one extra range in front of him. So that is definitely going to be helpful to allow you to put a tank in front of him so he can, be a little protected. He does have 6,200 attack, so that's solid. Cost is 19. Attack interval 2.6 seconds, which is pretty much the norm. Alright, so his talent. Hammer attack has a 20% chance to inflict stun on the target, while axe attack has a 20% chance to inflict defense reduction. The big 20% defense reduction, that's bigger and better than Yuri, who has only the 15% version. And a chance to inflict stun, that already sounds like he might be potential, of course, for obviously just general wave control and whatever, if he's just a fighter in a lane blocking, but also Titanic Ruins, which I forgot even when I was reading Yuri's Awaken 1, or I think it was with that stun. Titanic Ruins for sure, right? Let's see if that trend continues as we look at his skills. So his basic attack has a 40% chance to attack with the hammer and deal 100% damage, a 40% chance to attack with the axe and deal 100% damage, and a 20% chance to use Warlord's Might, dealing 100% damage 2 times. Warlord's Might attacks with 2 weapons simultaneously and has a chance to trigger talent effects. Okay, so this is very confusing. Now I see why someone said confusing already. Instantly confused. Has a 40% chance to do this, a 40% chance to do this, and a 40% chance to do this. Does that mean he has a chance to do 3 different attacks within the same within every basic attack? Or is only one of those things going to happen with every basic attack? Already very confusing wording, so we're not off to a good start. I mean, that sounds great for a basic. You're either gonna deal... It has to be every single attack, because this is and. So every one hit with a basic, you're gonna have a chance to do these 3 different things. The third one being a 2-hitter. So you have a chance to hit 4 times, technically, but it could be as low as 1. So super RNG. Great. Alright, ultimate. Basic attack is turned into Warlord's Might and doubles the chance of inflicting stun and defense reduction on targets. Every 3 attacks triggers an earthquake that deals 200% damage to one main target and 50% damage to up to 5 targets nearby. Okay. So it is definitely going to be Warlord's Might, which is using both. So if this is a basic attack, this is one of those Infernal Roar type kits. Although he triggers an earthquake that deals damage too. Every 3 attacks. No, every 3 attacks. So is that probably more like an Infernal Roar? I don't know. Does this scream Soulbound Arcana or... So, okay, I mean, obviously, or the newer sets as well. Triggers an earthquake that deals 200% damage to one main target for every 3 attacks that happen during the ultimate. So maybe that can actually count for the ultimate damage. Yeah. I think that the stun and defense reductions sound amazing versus bosses. So I don't know why this sounds... It's not terrible. It's not that underwhelming yet, but it definitely, again, already feels complicated. So I see that as initial impression so far already, immediately. Complicated and confusing and maybe not as OP as we hope. But I guess we're going to have to see some... Getting him involved in teams for like Titanic Ruins with the stun and defense reduction is going to be the real test. Like, is he better than Torador? Is he... Well, Torador can be the tank. That's the set. Like, Torador can tank the big hits. So someone else would have to be the one to tank the big hits instead of Torador if you replaced him in your team. Maybe he's more for like the people that don't have Torador, and at least it's another Nightmare Lord that you can get. I can't decide yet. All right, let's keep reading. Warlord's Might ignores 50% of the target's defense when Warlord's Might is triggered. Increases attack by 2% for 10 seconds, stacking up to 3 times. Okay, so 6%'s 79% attack or whatever. Or 3, yeah. 9% attack increase. It's not crazy, but more defense penetration added. Defense penetration is great, especially against bosses, so... I'm just seeing him as a typical boss killer. Obviously, defense reduction is great for either one, Drake's Chasm or Titanic Ruins, but we also know that there's other stuff coming from the like big content drops, so maybe he'll be well suited there. All right, every 70 seconds, resists 1 instance of damage. When triggered, increases damage by 15% for 10 seconds. Each time the hero deals damage, reduces the cooldown of this effect by 1 second. Interesting. Every time he deals damage, reduces the cooldown of this effect by 1 second. So, definitely feels like a long battle. I mean, so far, this kit is screaming like Titanic Ruins, right? I don't see why not. I don't see how it would be bad. I guess we could see, what is his Lord skill, right? That's the real question. And how is it different than Torador? Or is it different than Torador? So the basic stuff then increases attack speed by 5, 10, 15, blah, blah, blah. However, their healing is reduced. Yes, okay. When Rygar is the Lord and the ultimate is triggered, faction team members gain buffs. A basic attack damage increases by 25%. And each basic attack restores 3% HP. The applied buffs last until the end of the ultimate. Okay, that sounds like a great buff for the team. 25% increased damage on all basic attacks for all the allies. Like, a Nightmare is definitely one of those that's fighter heavy, that's Infernal Roar, focusing on attack speed and basic attacks, kind of heavy. I mean, there's some that definitely benefit from other sets, but you know what I mean. It's very, very heavy on high attack speed, lots of basic attack hits. So that sounds like a solid Lord bonus. I guess, wait, let me Let's compare him to Toreador's Lord bonus. Faction members' basic attacks have a 30% chance of landing an extra hit. Oh. So, I mean, his Lord bonus is definitely better than Toreador, right? How is that? It's definitely not worse. 30% chance to just get an extra hit. That's it? That's Toreador's bonus? That's not exciting. This is great. This is just a straight up guaranteed buff. So I definitely would prefer him in the Lord position. I swear I read something that made it sound like he's worse than Toreador as a Lord, but I don't see how that's the case. That's 100% better Lord skill. Like, unless I missed some, unless it's like something else up top was different. No, that's always the stuff that's the same. That's guaranteed buffs for your team. I don't know. Maybe he's better than people want to give him credit for. All right, so the Awakenings. Enhancement 1. During the ultimate, triggers 1 earthquake every 2 attacks instead of every 3 attacks. Okay. That's a ton of extra damage, up to 300% damage extra when that happens. That's great. His kit's definitely a little more complicated than usual, though, for sure. I could get behind that. All right, his Awaken 2 adds attack, and then, of course, increases the faction team member's attack speed by 20, so it enhances his Lord's skill even more. Awaken 3 increases the ultimate duration by 10 seconds. Oh. That's very nice. Okay, and Awaken 4, penetration plus 8%. And Awaken 5 increases the maximum stacks of brute strength attack increase by 2. Okay. I guess I'm a little bit torn, as in, like, he sounds really solid for boss content like Titanic Ruins, right? But is he, like, the new greatest Lord in the game? I don't think so. But does he deserve a lot of negativity that I saw so far? I don't think so either. Maybe there's just something I'm missing there, but he sounds like he's a fantastic Lord for a Nightmare team, particularly in Titanic Ruins, or even just the normal Drake's Chasm, or maybe our future guild boss type stages that are coming. I'd be very happy to pull him and use him instead of Toreador. The only difference is the stun, I guess. Like, can he be the only stunner? It's only a 20% chance to land. Hammer attack. And that's only when it's his hammer, because sometimes the basic attacks are going to be the axe instead. So it might be a little too RNG, but he does have an increased chance of landing the stun every time the ultimate goes off, so you'd still pop the ultimate in timing with the chainsaw. That would make sense, but definitely needs a ton of attack speed as well to hopefully land as many hammer attacks as possible to be able to stun. So I guess that's just the big question is, can he be the only stunner? Maybe not, but we're starting to get more and more heroes that have that as part of their kit, so he might pair up logically. Or Toreador might be in your team as the one taking the hit, plus doing some stunts, so maybe the combination of both of them is enough. Possible. Alrighty though, let me know what you guys think of him in the comments below. I definitely don't think he sounds terrible. And I think he sounds honestly solid for the guild content. So I don't know, maybe people just want him to be more versatile in like arena and stuff. I feel like that should be okay in arena too. Maybe it's just the multipliers are a little low. I don't know. It is a little slow for the start for the ultimate charge. But I don't know why he's extra I don't want to say he's extra hated on, but people felt pretty critical in what I've saw so far. All right, yeah, let me know what you guys think in the comments below, but let's go on to the lore. I will sleep with one eye open until that beast is on the ground. Rex. The desert sands of Tayo whisper tales of a colossal beast draped in furs and bones, a figure whose shadow stretches across the dunes like a storm on the horizon. His footsteps shake the earth, and his presence seems to herald the end of all things innocent. With eyes burning in resentment, his calloused hands stained by the blood of countless battles grip weapons too monstrous for any ordinary man to wield. This is the dawn of Rygar, the Scorned Ravager. Long ago, Rex and Rygar, founding members of the Watchguard, stood in the elite ranks of Masun Empire's military. From the very beginning, seeds of rivalry were sowed. Rex was everything Rygar despised, a noble-born warrior who led with a compassion rather than raw strength. Where Rex sought justice and protection for the weak, Rygar sought dominance and power. Yet it wasn't just Rex's ideals that Rygar despised, but the effortless way he garnered admiration and respect. To Rygar, it was clear. Rex's ascent to general stemmed from the privileges he'd been born into. Beneath the guise of camaraderie, Rygar's jealousy festered, turning into something far more insidious. When Rex defied the Masun and deserted the army, Rygar saw it as betrayal, not just of the Empire, but of him. In Rex's defection, Rygar saw weakness, a rejection of the ideals that Rygar held sacred. It was his belief that Rex had turned his back on everything they'd fought for, mocking the brutality of war by seeking peace. With Rex's desertion, Rygar was placed in charge of the Masun forces. His leadership marked by harsh and brutal tactics, culminated by a disastrous defeat for the Masun military. His failure to maintain control led to his dismissal, while Rex's establishment of the Watchguard and his victories against the Dark Tides only increased his glory and recognition. Consumed by bitterness and a desire for retribution, Rygar saw a way to rival Rex's achievements. His search for power led him to the Nightmare Council, the Watchguard's greatest of enemies. Sensing an opportunity to seize the power and influence he felt he deserved, he dove into a world of demons and dark magic that promised the unrestrained power he craved. He rose swiftly through the council's ranks, casting aside all remnants of his former life as he carved a path to warlord. With his rise to prominence within the Nightmare Council, the Scorned Ravager stands as a dark antithesis to Rex, equipped with a singular focus, the complete annihilation of the Watchguard. He vowed to hunt his former comrade to the far corners of Taya, cutting down any who have since allied themselves with the general.